Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, live from New York, welcome to Brett's Guest, starring the 2829 Brilliance Band. And now, your host, Brett Ari Fischer, the New York City Brooker.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another thrilling episode of Brett's Guests. We are excited to have you joining us today. Remember, if you have any interest in being on the show, contact me at brett@thenewyorkcitybroker.com. Today's special guest is an incredible attorney specializing in trusts and wills who focuses in New York along with 26 other states. She works at Gertis and Associates. Friends, please give it up for the great Lin Wang. Lin, thank you for being on the show today. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling very well. Thank you very much, Brett, for having me here. And nice to meet you, all of the guys in front of the computers.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time. We know you're pretty busy. So let's get right into it. You focus on a lot of different aspects of law. How is the best way to avoid probate?
The best way to avoid probate is to have a trust. Before talking about the way to avoid probate, we have to know why do we have to go through the probate. We have to go through the probate because if we don't have a trust, if we pass away, the government have to try to find out who will get what. And in this progress, they will try to find whether the deceased person has the surviving spouse or the children and whether they have the surviving parents, like brothers, nieces, nephews, and cousins, like level by level. So it can be a lot of finding work, and they do charge for that. They usually charge 5 to 15% of the net worth of the estate to go through the probate, and it also is very time-wasting. Sometimes it takes 3 to 5 years to finish the whole process. In New York, and in some other states, perhaps it's better, like 1 to 2 years, but still a lot of time. And then we will disclose our privacy to find the people. So it is a lot of work. But if we have a trust, it is a way allowed by the government for us to decide how to distribute our assets by ourselves in the trust. So we can make such arrangement in advance instead of relying on the government to find such people after our passing away. So if we have such arrangement, the government will respect it and it will save on the time and energy of both us and the government. So I would suggest us to have a trust instead of trusting the work in the hands of the government. Thank you.
Well, that's great. And how do you protect beneficiaries against their creditors or ex-spouses?
Yeah, that is really a very good question because as a person, like in the world, we try very hard to make money. And we also want to try very hard to protect whatever we have earned for our family, for our loved ones, and for the next generation. We don't want to lose our money to our creditors or even worse, to the creditors of our children after our passing away. So we want to have the trust, and the trust is really a very strong tool for us, not only for the inheritance of the assets, but also for the protection of the assets. In the trust, I can set up different rules. I can say I only give the assets to my children, and if they have creditors, if they owe money to others, or if they get divorced, I don't want the ex-spouse and creditors to touch my money. And I also can have irrevocable trust to say I will lock my assets in the trust to be protected. So if I have creditors myself, they cannot touch my money as well. This is really a very useful tool, and I encourage us to explore the ways for the trust to protect our assets. Thank you.
And I get this question all the time from my clients. How can you avoid estate tax? Is there a way?
Correct. For estate tax, we have to know what is estate tax before we know how to avoid it. In short words, the estate tax is a kind of tax posed on the people who are rich. Right now, the estate tax threshold is very high, like it is really very prehistoric. Right now, the estate tax starts from $12.92 million. It means if we don't have so much, we don't have to worry about estate tax at all. And if we have anything above the threshold, which is $12.92 million, whatever beyond that will be subject to 40% of the estate tax. For example, if I have $13.92 million, I have $1 million beyond the threshold of the estate tax, and among that, 40%, which will be $400K, will be charged by the government as estate tax. If I don't want to have the estate tax, I can have irrevocable trust. In the irrevocable trust, I have to give up the right to use the money and to manage the money in the future. It means once I put the assets in the trust, I can appoint other people to use or manage my money. For example, my children, if they are adults. Or if they are not adults, perhaps my siblings, my parents, my friends who I can trust, they will manage the assets and I will quit the job. Even though I give up the right to use and manage the assets, but I can help myself on the estate tax because I give up. That is not regarded as my assets when I pass away. In this way, the government will not put the estate tax on such assets. So I can avoid that. Yes, it is at a cost, but the cost is worth it in a lot of situations. So my suggestion is if you are a rich person and you will be subject to the estate tax, perhaps the best way is to refer to an attorney. The lawyers will analyze our situation and they will tell you their opinion, like whether you should have such a trust so you can save on the estate tax, but at the cost that you will give up the right to control your assets. And also, I will remind us, if your assets are not worth $12.92 million, but they are more than $5 million, we need to be careful as well. Because according to the current tax law, by January 1st, 2026, the estate tax threshold is still very high, like $12.92 million. But after that, after January 1st, 2026, the estate tax threshold will be downgraded to $5 million per person. So more people need to pay more estate tax if we don't do anything. So for middle classes, we have to be careful of the issue here. Thank you.
I mean, that's really interesting information. I think a lot of people can learn from that, and even speaking to you more on the phone. We have your information listed here if you would like to contact Lin. And so, Lin, I mean, do you have any crazy or entertaining stories that occurred in your career where you think your expertise made the situation significantly better?
Yes, I do have a lot of usually crazy stories in my area as a lawyer in estate planning. Like one of the stories I want to share is one guy passed away. And the guy has a girlfriend and a daughter from a prior relationship. And the guy had two trusts when he was alive. One for the benefits of the daughter and one for the benefits of the girlfriend. Unfortunately, in both trusts, he said the same thing. My house A, located at so-and-so, will belong to my beloved daughter and my beloved girlfriend in the trust. So it means he only has one house. But right now, the house belongs to two owners, the daughter and the girlfriend. So they really argued with each other a lot about who should really owns the real property after the passing away of the guy. We went to the county clerk's office because the deed was recorded under a name have to like either the trust of the daughter or the trust for the girlfriend. And we found out the house is recorded under the trust for the benefit of the daughter instead of the girlfriend. So finally, the house belongs to the daughter. This story is really very important for us because it teaches a very important lesson. Some people will think, okay, if I have a trust, I put my ideas down in black and white about how to distribute my assets after my passing away. I can have the peace of mind and I don't need to do anything further. That is totally wrong, and it can subject the family, the assets, to a big trouble. There are always 2 steps to finish the whole trust process. First is to put down our ideas in black and white in the trusts to see how we want our assets to be distributed after our passing away. And second, we must record such documents with the financial institutions managing the assets. For example, if it's a house, we have to go to the county clerk's office, the office recording the deeds to say, okay, I want my house to be recorded under the name of the trust. If I pass away, I want the trust beneficiaries to get the house. And if it is life insurance policies, if it is bank accounts, if it is stock accounts, I need to go to the corresponding life insurance companies, banks, stock, brokerage companies to make such record so they know how to distribute my assets after my passing away. If the recording is not finished, the process is not done, and the trust will not control. So in this case, because the gentleman recorded the house under the name of the trust for the benefit of the daughter instead of the girlfriend, so the daughter wins finally. So that's my suggestion. Always remember to record our assets under the name of the trust, and please remember to change it if you want to in the future. Just don't leave confusion after our passing away. Thank you.
I think that really shows, Lin, how important it is to have an attorney who's very knowledgeable about trusts and wills, because you have the wrong person and it could really, cost you a lot of money, create a lot more legal issues for you. So I appreciate you sharing that story. If there's one piece of advice that you could give to whether it's a client or maybe someone looking to get into your industry, what would that be?
For clients, I would say always have a trust. The last thing we want to experience after our passing away is to subject our loved ones to the long and very messy and the uncontrollable probate process. And for any person who wants to be in this industry, I will assume that will be an attorney, a paralegal, or something like that in the area of law or estate planning law. I will say it is a job which requires a lot of commitment. So please, if you want to be in this job, be ready. And it will be a very demanding work. We need to work for long hours, very focusing, and we will meet different kinds of clients, but we need to care about them because that is the money of their whole life, and that's the whole family, and that can be a generation by generation thing. So please be ready for that, be prepared for that. If you think you're ready, then very welcome into the world of estate planning lawyers. Thank you.
And Lin, you're a famous TV star. Is that correct? That's what I hear from a lot of different sources.
Yes, I have a YouTube which is popular among the people, especially the people who are interested in trusts and wills.
I think that's really exciting. You have that experience. And, have you had any interesting real estate interactions, either with your job or in your personal life, that you'd like to share? Obviously, being a real estate agent myself in New York City, we always try and see how the industries can kind of overlap.
Yes, actually, in my area, people are so enthusiastic about the real estate investment, including myself, because I work a lot for Chinese clients. And Chinese people, they really are very enthusiastic about real estate investment because real estate investment is so stable. It's really very hard and almost impossible to lose money in real estate investment. And also it is a lot of return. So we really like this. So but we always think where should we invest, because there are different states and the different states have different characteristics. So we are interested why should we invest in New York real estate, and how should we invest in the New York real estate area? So if you have any suggestion, would you please share it with us, please? Right? Thank you.
Well, thank you for this. This has been a great show, and we really appreciate you, Lin, for being on here. Unfortunately, that is all the time we have for today's edition of Brett's Guest. I hope you had as much fun as I had. Lin, thank you so much. I really enjoyed getting to chat with you. And thank you, friends. If you have any questions for Lin, please reach her at Lin Wang at gklawgroup.com. And if you need any real estate help or you'd like to be on Brett's Guests, please feel free to reach me at brett@thenewyorkcitybroker.com. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to both Lin and myself so that you, your friends, and your family members can get all the best relevant content. I'm Brett Ari Fischer, the New York City Broker. Have a great day.
Thank you for attending. Please head toward the exit near the back of the theater.